Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and share. I am your host. Let's jump right in. Hello. My name is Sabrina. Thank you for joining us at the Her Version podcast. This platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from learning from other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Niki. Niki is a happily married mother of 2 children living in South Florida. Yay, Florida. But it was not always that way. Niki, once a high school cheerleading captain and aspiring mathematician, took a sharp turn in her early years to being a college dropout and a homeless prostitute. Her time in the street, both in Lake Worth Beach, where she once unsuccessfully rehabbed, and in New Jersey, where her family lived, was filled mostly by short stints in jail for possession, DUI, and theft. She is not the only one, and that is why she is here speaking today. The nation's health experts report that nearly 21 million Americans, or about 1 in every 7, struggle with addiction. Only a fraction, 1 in 10, will get treatment. As a last resort, Niki's family, back in 2016, reached out to the Dr. Phil show to try and save Niki from herself. Now, looking back, Niki credits Dr. Phil's staff for putting her on the road to recovery. Her sober start was Christmas Day 2016. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome, Niki. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
My eyes started going a little cross there for a second. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so happy to have you here. The cool thing about that program, which I appreciate, is I think it opens up people's minds to self-development. And a lot of people don't get that education like freely. It's not just like out. You have to like actually open a book and read it or take a class or whatever it is.
Exactly.
But for these individuals that are enduring, some sort of addiction, could be anything. I've been in my share of CODA meetings myself. But there's this underlying like teaching of personal development and self-development and growth, mentally
totally.
and emotionally. Yeah, which I just love. So I was wondering what your thought was on the importance of that, not only for, people that are suffering from that, but just for the world in general. What's your thoughts?
So it's so funny because, like, I always say, people always say that, like, they're grateful that they find AA. They're grateful that they're alcoholics because it brings them to AA, which is like absolutely true. If I didn't have a crippling drug addiction, I never would have found what has like proven to be just a different way of life. And I think that everybody suffers from like this, spiritual thing. Like some people find it on their own. Some people like totally find a way to like develop their relationship with themselves and the people around them in different ways. Some people are able to like, they want to develop themselves. They want to like attain spiritual growth. And like, I only became willing to do those things because of my drug addiction. And I'm so fortunate that I found that, because I think that so many people could benefit from like what is actually being taught in AA. Like it's so funny because I share about like my experience in AA, and like my drug addiction brought me in there, but like that's not what I do anymore. Like it's all about spiritual growth, like personal, how am I growing myself to be the person that like is the most useful in this world today, is like, the core message of AA. Like I want to continue to make myself a better human, and I think that so many people could find that. And, people do find it other ways. But like, alcohol makes you very willing to make some lifestyle changes. It's really good for that. And I don't think I would have seen the necessity to work on myself as a human, because all I could see was the drug addiction, the alcoholism. Like that's all I could see. It was obviously pretty blaring. So, you know, and thank God, like it got me in there and I was able to see like, oh, I need to just work on myself as a human. I need to be a better human, you know? Um, Gosh, but everyone, like my mom, I always like that. I said that my mom is like the most well-adjusted person in the world. Like she has like her spiritual foundation and she like strives to be a better person without AA. Like great. I don't understand that. Like that, like but she's like so well-adjusted, because like the most well-adjusted people I know today are all my drug addict and alcoholic friends who like were forced into a like spiritual way of life, but then like found out like, oh my gosh, this is the answer. Like just being a better human, you know, and I think that we could all benefit from that.
Yes,
Yes.
100%. I was just gonna say something, but I was listening to you, so then I forgot what I was gonna say. Which I guess is a good thing. When you were going from, I like to say the darkness to the light, however you wanna
Yeah.
visualize that for yourself. But one of the biggest issues. I was going to talk about relapse. That's what I was. So, how many times did you?
So, yeah, so I like this is why I didn't believe I would get sober. I went to treatment, you know, I went to like inpatient treatment 4 times. I went to detox multiple times. I did like the Baker Act thing because, like, you know, I'm a crazy person also too. So like I was involuntarily committed. I went to jail. I also did like the jail route. I tried detoxing myself. I tried like, well, maybe I'll go to like the methadone clinic, and like I tried for years and years and years. The first time I went to like a formal treatment program was in 2009. I didn't get sober till 2016. So, you know, 7 years of like just formal institutions trying to get me sober, and like none of that really stuck. So it took me a long time, but I will say that like once, and like this is why I'm so into this, like, you know, self-development, personal growth. Once I tried that approach, right? Like let me try to work on like the internal condition. I got sober, and I have, you know, by the grace of God, I've been sober ever since. But like all my attempts to like go to treatment and like white knuckle it, like none of those kept me sober until I really opened my mind to like maybe I need to like heal the person inside and like become a better person to the
Wow,
people around me.
wow, that's deep, girl. That's deep. Do you think that that is the issue a lot of times? The reason I wanted to bring this up is that's like the I think the dark cloud that kind of hovers over addiction is this horrible word relapse.
Yeah.
And it kind of like follows you around and haunts you and all of this stuff. And I have, so when I got sober, I was just drinking. Wasn't,
Mhm.
I was drinking alcohol, and I literally just quit. I don't even know
Yeah.
my date. I just, one Saturday we were going out clubbing, and I'm like, I'm not drinking anymore. And I
Yeah.
didn't take a drink that night. Woke up sober the next day. I'm like, this is fucking fantastic. I'm gonna do this again. And I just stopped. Um, but I have serious like feelings for individuals who have this guilt around the relapse, and I just
Yeah.
don't agree with it. I don't feel like it should be that heavy. I feel as if, I don't want to say relapse is part of it, because I
Yeah.
also don't like the excuse of it, but I don't feel like it should be as heavy as it is. I feel like it should just be like, you relapse, cool, let's just do it again. You relapse, cool, let's just do it again.
I'm
What's
right
your
there
thought?
with you. I'm like right there with you on the relapse thing. I don't like the saying that like relapse is a part of recovery, because like that really hasn't totally been my experience. Like my experience is like relapse is like kind of the opposite of recovery. When I stop upping my spiritual game, like when not like this Facebook message that popped up, like when I'm not working on this like healing myself, fitting myself to be more useful. Oh, my hand got cut off. I'm a handsy talker. If I'm not like fitting myself to be more useful, you know, as a human to the people around me, then I'm backtracking, right? And like in my experience has been that like they're kind of the opposite. Now, like that being said, I just the fact that like my experience has shown that like relapse is kind of like the backtracking of recovery. I don't think it's like an unexpected, like I relapsed for years, and like it turns out that like what I relapse is like just my usage. Like I wasn't doing any of the healing. I would remove the substances from my body and do nothing else. So like I was miserable, you know, like
Got
my
it.
coping mechanism was drugs and alcohol. So when I don't have my coping mechanism and I haven't done any work to like fix the broken human inside of me, I am unhappy. So like yes, of course, like I don't, you know, I've relapsed so many times. I've worked with so many people. I mean, I have like a huge network of women, you know, that we are out there helping people, and like it happens. Yeah, it does. Like that was my experience. Like I would relapse, like especially, you know, when I was pregnant, when I was trying to like get sober for my daughter, you know, which was one of my shorter relapses, honestly. But I feel terrible, but then like what's the thought? Well, what'll make that go away? I'll just drink more. So like and then once I'm out there, it's like I keep going. I keep going. Like once that like physical thing is awakened inside of me, I keep going, and then I come to and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like it's still happening. Like I got to drink to numb this too. Like keep going." You know, and like I totally believe that. And it's really hard to explain that. I know my dad was an alcoholic. I know it's hard to like love an alcoholic or an addict and to just say like, listen, like this is untreated alcoholism, right? Like this is, you know, it's hard because like it's really hard and defeating to tell someone like there's nothing you can do um to change this if a person relapses. But you know it does, like it doesn't make anyone feel better. And like at this point, and I think it's a very difficult thing, and like it's a thing that like I'm very blessed and fortunate to have like lived experience on both sides with now, to like understand that you know, condemning someone, you know, like that never got me sober. I mean, like I love Phil McGraw, don't get me wrong, but like when he's showing me pictures on a big whiteboard of like this is what happens when you're using when you're pregnant, like listen, I know I don't want to be doing this, right? Like I don't want to be doing this, I don't want to be living this life, but like this isn't making it better for me. Like no one that I know of has like ever gotten like scared into having
Scared
totally
into sobriety.
you know.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, because it pulls at you in a different way.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.